Yes. So features influencing mining method selection. The main feature of a deposit and environment which dedicate a given mining method includes. You're not going to look at some of the features or some of the things that we need to consider before we select a particular mining method. Let's say underground mining method to be precise. You have to look at the size and shape of the deposits, the size and shape. So this information is being given by the geologists. Yes, you have to tell us the size and shape of the ore body when they do their mineral resource estimation. They can get the deposit size and then the shape. But the shape and the size will help you to determine the method you are supposed to use. The depth of the deposit and type of the overburden. You discussed this in surface mining, but we are just going through. We also have to look at how deep the ore body is from the surface or from the overburden. We explain overburden that overburden, it's the material that encloses the ore. So if there is a material that covers the ore that needs to be removed before we get the ore, that material is known as the overburden. The location and character. Looking at the strike and then the dip. We explain the dip. That the dip is the angle that's the ore body mixed with the horizontal. And they also said the strike is the whole length, the horizontal length of the ore body or the ore deposits. The strength and physical characteristics of the deposits, yes. You have to, in underground, you have to look at the strength of the ore body and then the strength of the rock. You know that the country rock, the ore body is being deposited in a country rock. So you have to make sure you know the strength of the rock itself and then the strength of the ore deposits. These two parameters or these two things are very, very, very important when you are dealing with underground. The grade and the type of deposits. Yes, the grade is also very important for economic wise. You have to know where your high grades are, where your low grades are, so that you wouldn't mind waste or you wouldn't spend your time pumping money into low grade. The social environmental conditions. You have to also look at the environmental conditions. Even the environmental conditions, if you are choosing a support system, you have to also look at the environmental conditions. Let's say you are in Accra. Yes, let's assume in Accra, you've gotten a deposit in Accra, and then you want to mine, and then you are selecting a support system. It will never be an option for you to select, let's say, um, timber as your support system. Accra, where is timber? You have to come to the rural areas and get timber to go and then use for your support, which will waste a lot of time. So you have to look at all these things. Let's look at the physical factors and selection of stoping method. If we are to select a stoping method, what are the things we need to consider before we can select a stoping method? Now, I've already explained stope. A stope is an excavation of which ore has been drawn from. Let's take our time and then explain the stope because you're going to use the stope in our presentation. As I said, this could be your ramp or your decline. If you are using car to access, you can say this is your decline. Now, if it is shaft system, just as Mr. Waka, what they use, it's also like this. So let's put a decline here, then let's put a shaft here. Yes, it is a shaft. The shafts. So shafts are yes, it's a shafts. And let's use D for decline. So these are the two ways you can enter under. For this, you can use cars, large equipment like Jumbo, Solo, many other equipment, the cable motor, the ITS, and then the rest. You can just use them. But if you're using the shaft system will not allow you to use all this mechanization I'm talking about. The shaft system, it's just, we have somebody sitting on the surface here who is driving the shaft. So it's just like a cage. There's a cage here, where Mr. Walker and then his team, they will sit in this cage. And they are connected to Mama cage, and they were winding room. So they normally use bell to communicate. So there is an operator here. So, and then there are people sitting in this one. So if they are going to a level, they have their own way of communicating. Now, the decision of you choosing a shaft or a decline depends on how you want to mine. Now, remember that if you're using the shaft system, the way is very small. Dump trucks cannot enter. So if you're going to use a lot of mechanization, that is where we go for the decline. And it means that you have to look at where you are placing your decline or your shaft. You have to make sure that the rocks there are very competent. They are not going to fail. Now, if you know that this place is very weak, we don't put decline or shaft there because the shaft is the only avenue we can use to enter the ore, enter the underground, the whole underground. So if you notice that there is failure at where the shaft is, immediately you have to change the whole shaft somewhere. It means that there has been a whole lot of work. They know that that place, the rock is very competent, and therefore it's not going to fail. That is why they placed the shaft there. So the shafts, if you are placing the shaft, you place the shaft at where the rock is competent or very strong, because and if you blast materials here, we also use the same shafts. This is some material and free hand. So as I was saying, Newmont is having one portal in, one portal out, and sometimes they will see a link between portal 1 and portal 2. Let's say here you are moving this way, but they will create a space that links these two rows together, and they will call it a link. Maybe 785 link. It means that level 785, you will see, you don't want to hear link. It means that if you are here, you can move to this session. And that is what they used to be partaking. Okay, now the track be a track and a link be an offer has a, but you see another link here, now what travel be seen anymore. I hope it's understood. Then if you are going out, then you move. But all this session will be a very big mass of rock. Now, if you're using the decline section, it's not straight as I've drawn it. It goes like this. Spiral section B. So as it is moving, now so you move to the last session or wherever you are going. The physical characteristics which indicate the choice of stoping methods are the strength of the ore and the wall of the country rock. I've explained this, that if you are choosing a stope method, I said stoping is, or a stope is any excavation of which ore has been drawn from. If you are choosing a method for stoping, you're going to look at some of the methods. If you're choosing a method, you have to look at the strength. Everything you're doing underground, look at the strength of the ore, because the whole underground system, it's like you moving, you are just moving in rocks. So if the rocks are not strong, it means that it can fail. Now, shape, horizontal area, volume and regularity of the boundaries of the ore body, and thickness, the depth of the deposit, and individual chutes. You have to take into consideration of all those things. Continuity of the ore within the boundaries of the deposits. You have to check if the ore is in the continual forms, and I say, oh, ne kokakra na ejina na za kotwa so baby. Ni na chiro method kra we say where the use. How deep below the surface, the nature of the capping or overburden. So from Babia waste in the one, which is overburden, I've already explained that. From the overburden to the main deposit, how deep is it? Is it too deep or it is shallow? Meaning now you have to look or take into consideration all these things before you select the stope method. Position of the deposit relative to surface structures, drainage, and other mine openings. Although a caving method of stoping would be the best and cheapest method of mining a deposit directly beneath a town, city, it cannot be applied since the rock will eventually subside up to the surface. Yes, we have a method called caving method. The caving method, it's like, let me try and do some drawing here. Let's say it's like a chocolate. I have a chocolate here, and then we have they've put in certain things on the chocolate, and then these sweet things are what you want. These sweet things are what you want. Now, what these are sweet things in frame. Where you frame? Let's say the yellow section. This is the ore. Yeah, frame. We frame on side be open. So any honey as time goes on, it will cave in, it will break. Any now be broken. That is it. When we get there, you appreciate it very well. Clear all drawings. All right. So classification of stopping methods by rock strength. So the stopping methods has been classified by the U.S. Bureau of Mines in 1936. They classified them. So all are won by stopping. I've already explained this. That stop is any opening where ore has been drawn from. So all are won. So we get ore in underground by stopping, which is a general term used to describe the mining method. So the following table gives, so there's a table that I'm going to show you. That table shows how the U.S. Bureau explain or classify the stopping methods that we have. This is the table. This is the table. We have stops which are naturally supported. Now, remember us when I was saying safety and economy. Safety and economy. And then the safety, the safety I'm talking about is all about the the support we are giving to the underground system. So we have open stopping. Now, stops which are naturally supported are we have open stopping. Like, yes, naturally support means that this particular mining method, we don't bring support. The rocks are too strong to support itself. Let's say that we are mining. Our rocks are very strong. So we have a rock here. We have a rock here. We come in, because we've tested and we know that our rocks are very strong. We come and drill here. Ping, 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 ping. Then we fire, boom. Oh, fire. When you say a bow original, after a boom. So born is stronger, this place will also cave in. Will also break. But if you are using open stopping or naturally supported stopping, it means that these two rocks here, adjacent rocks here, are very strong. That even if you take this part, if you fire this part, this rocks can still stay. These rocks can still stay. Yes, we look at some, and some of the methods under it is the sub-level stopping, open stopes with pillar support. We have room and pillar stopping, panel stopping, the VCR, the vertical crater retreat stopping, the vein mining method. So you see, if you are supposed to treat everything, it means that we have to take all these methods one by one and explain all these methods. That's why I'm saying that if we do that, we can't finish the course. We can't finish, and then our time, we can't even write the exams. We have B here. B to stops which are artificially supported. So we have stops which we say that, oh, they are weak. Our stops are weak, so we have to support them. And then for that one, we have the shrinkage stopping. We have shrinkage. We have with pillars, without pillars. We have with subsequent weight filling. We have the rescue receiving method. Sorry, we have the cut and fill stopping. We have store stopping in narrow veins, which is the timber stopping. We have the square sets. We have to see if you have to take this one by one and then explain all these things too. All right. And then the third one, we have the caved stops. Cave stoop, block caving, including caving to main levels and caving to shoots or branched. So you have sub-level caving, we have long walls caving. You have to also take this and then go through all them. So this is what we are not going to do. We are just going to introduce ourselves to the whole mining system, knowing that we have certain things that happen, that exist. Like we have open stopping, we have artificial stopping. And when we talk about open stopping, all that we want to say is that in open stopping, there is no, or we don't include pillars. the ore or the rocks that we are mining are very competent in such a way that they can support themselves. So this is how the US Bureau classified the stoping systems we have. But the common ones we use here in Ghana is the open stoping.